back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! So I am here for a really exciting video. I love to watch these, so I thought it was about time that I made one of my own. And this is my most anticipated books for January to June of next year, 2017. Usually publishers kind of release their upcoming titles in 6-monthly catalogues, so you can find the catalogues on their websites, or sometimes you get sent them if you're a reviewer, and sometimes you just hear that one of your favourite authors has a new book coming out. So that's all I've done. I had a look at some catalogues, I already had a list of things I was excited about, so I've just made a list. I've made a list and I'm going to share with you guys what I'm really looking forward to. There are 18, so I'm going to try and whiz through them, but I will tell you a little bit about each book. So let's get started. The first book that I am hugely excited about comes out in January, and that is Caravelle by Stephanie Garber. My goodness, I loved this book. I've already read it, as you know. I will link my review. If you've not seen it, go and watch it, because honestly I adored this book, and I think so many of you will as well. This is gonna be great. It's about a Caravelle, which is a mysterious kind of concert come role-playing exhibition, weird creepy thing that goes on every year, and it's run by a very mysterious organisation no one really knows much about. Two girls who are sisters are under the rule and tyranny of their father, who is not a nice person. They manage to escape him and go to the Caravelle, and they have all sorts of sinister, interesting, exciting, sensual experiences as part of it, and it's fantastic and so good. This is a YA fantasy that I would 100% recommend, so this comes out in January. Very exciting. The next one I have on my list is a title coming out from Tor. This is Crossroads of Canopy, which is one I found when I was doing my last anticipated releases video. I was looking at upcoming titles and I found this one, but it was coming out in January, so I waited to show you guys it. But oh my goodness, I've been excited for this one for ages, so I really hope it's good. It's by Thoraya Dyer, I think that's her name. I am simply going to read out the first bit of the blurb to you for this one, because that is what made me want this book so much. It's the first one in a series, which is the Titan's Forest series, and the blurb simply says this: at the highest level of a giant forest, 13 kingdoms fit seamlessly together to form the great city of Canopy. 13 goddesses and gods rule this realm and are continuously reincarnated into human bodies. Canopy's position in the sun, however, is not without its dark side. The nation's opulence comes from the labour of slaves, and below its fruitful bowels are two other realms, Understory and Floor, whose deprived citizens yearn for Canopy's splendour. It sounds so good, like I cannot wait. It sounds amazing. And it looks really cool as well. I really like that cover. So I just love the idea of this canopy treetop civilization. It sounds so cool, and I could totally imagine this as like a futuristic, crazy version of the world. I'm really excited for this one. I hope it's good. But yeah, it sounds amazing, and it comes out in January. The next one that I have on my list is by Cameron Hurley, and this one's also out in February. It's called The Stars Are Legion. I've heard a lot of hype from this one. A lot of people seem excited about it, which is understandable because Cameron Hurley always brings something unique to her worlds. I have read 2 of her books now. I've read the Mirror Empire and I've read God's War series, and both of them were completely out of this world, like very different from a lot of modern fantasy and science fiction. She is totally unique with what she does, so I'm very excited for this one. It says, somewhere on the outer rim of the universe, a mass of decaying worlds, ships known as the Legion, is travelling in the seams between the stars. For generations, a war for control of the Legion has been waged, with no clear resolution. As worlds continue to die, a desperate plan is put into motion. We follow a young girl called Zan who wakes up with no memory. Fairly stereotypical, but apparently she is told that she is the saviour of these people, and she has to go and rescue them by boarding one of the particular ships in the Legion and hopefully win the war, because she somehow holds the key to the destruction of the Legion, or the saviour of it, and it sounds pretty dramatic. I'm very excited. Hopefully I really like it. The next book on my list comes out from Head of Zeus, and it's The Wandering Earth by Cixin Liu.
This is a collection of short stories written by Cixin Liu, who is the author of The Three-Body Problem, which is a hugely popular science fiction series in China and now also in various other parts of the world since it's been translated by Ken Liu. It's a fantastic book. I've only read the first one because the second one in the series wasn't really my thing, but in terms of writing science fiction that is so mind-bending and so crazy and cool, Cixin Liu definitely seems to do that, and so I'm really excited for this collection. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he brings to short stories and short fiction. I think it's going to be good, and I really want to check this one out. The next one on my list is another one with an absolutely beautiful cover, and this is Norse Mythology, which is by Neil Gaiman. I believe that this takes a look at a lot of these sort of Viking, Norse mythology legends and stories. Gaiman's intention with this is to try and stay as true to the original source material as possible. He talks about Odin, who is the highest of the high, wise, daring and cunning, Thor, who is Odin's son, incredibly strong and yet not the wisest of gods, and Loki, who is the son of a giant, the brother of Odin, and a trickster and unsurpassable manipulator. It sounds as though Gaiman is taking these various stories of these gods, which we know from traditional Norse mythology, and he's weaving them together to create a mythological world. It sounds pretty cool. I'm definitely intrigued to see this book come together, because Gaiman's adult works aren't always my taste, but I do really like his style with children's stuff, and I think taking inspiration from real mythology might be a really cool way to sort of see what he does with it, and I'm looking forward to it, so I'm going to give it a go, and this comes out in February as well. The next one on my list also comes out in February, and that is a sequel. It's a follow-on from Hope and Red, and it's called Bane and Shadow. It's by John Scovron. I am very excited for this. This was such an easy read. It's kind of a sword and sorcery, I'd say, and it's fairly borderline between YA and adult. It's pitched as an adult, but it's written by an author who's previously written a whole lot of YA, so it feels very easy to get into. It's a fun story so far with lots of twists and turns. It definitely has a fast pace to it, so it's super quick to read. Even though it's a chunky one, it is easy, and I'm really excited by the second one coming out because I didn't realise it was coming out so soon, and it's a beautiful blue colour, and I definitely want to read about more of these characters. Hope and Red are the two main characters in the story, and I think that the second one will be great, so I can't wait for that. Speaking of second ones in a series, my next book is also a second one in a series, and it's the second one in this series. 12 Kings by Bradley Beaulieu. The second one is called Blood Upon the Sand, or With Blood Upon the Sand if you're in the US. I am really excited for the second one in this series because so far we have met a young lady called Cheda, who is a pit fighter. She has to wreak vengeance upon the 12 kings who rule over her city because of things that they have done and tyrannies that they have committed against the people who live there, and particularly against her and her family. She has a quest for vengeance, and she's very determined, and she's such a kick-ass character. I am really excited for book 2, and I cannot wait to get to it. And this one also comes out in February, so February is shaping up to be a very good month. Speaking of good months, March I believe will be a fantastic month too, because March is the month where the next series by David Hare starts. David Hare is the author of the Moontide Quartet series, which I loved, like absolutely loved. It's so good. If you've not seen my review for these, I'll put a link to it. Go and check it out because I raved about these. They are fantastic, so fantastic. And he has a new series called the Sun Surge Quartet, which is starting in March of 2017. The first one is called Empress of the Fool. I'm so excited for it. It's unreal. And oh my gosh, it's going to be great. It's set after the events of the Moontide Quartet, so it continues in the same world. I'm not sure if we're following the same or different characters. I think we're definitely going to see some crossover. It's gonna be great. I cannot wait. This is set in a world where there are 2 continents that are constantly divided, except every 12 years there are 2 of those 12 that they are joined by a bridge, and this time is called the Moontide. And during this time there is constant war between these 2 continents, and various different peoples can cross over or try to, and there's a lot of magic, a lot of mayhem, so many cool characters, really great female characters I must admit, and I really love this series. So if you've not read it, please check out Mage's Blood, read the whole quartet, and then by March you'll be ready to join in with me on the Sun Surge Quartet, which I'm so excited about. This is one of my absolute most anticipated books of next year. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be great. The next one I'm excited about also comes out in March, and that is this one, Strange the Dreamer by Lanny Taylor, which, as you can see, I already have an advance reader copy of, and it's absolutely beautiful and shiny and delightful and blue, which is great. Seems like a lot of blue books are coming out in 2017. I'm really liking that. So this is apparently the first one in a new series by Lanny Taylor. It just says, a mysterious city stripped of its name, a mythic hero with blood on his hands, a young librarian with a singular dream, a blue-skinned goddess every bit as perilous as she is imperiled. Welcome to Weep. That's all I know about it. That's all I want to know about it. I'm excited to dive in and hopefully love it. The next one on my list is called Red Sister. This is by Mark Lawrence. The series so far that I've read have been good. I've read like the Prince of Thorns series, the Broken Empire one. The only problem I have with Mark Lawrence so far is that he never really seems to write very much about female characters, which is why I'm excited for this one, because it is following female characters. I believe it follows a convent of assassins, where young girls are trained to become assassins. Apparently it takes 10 years to educate one of these assassins to become a Red Sister, but even the Mistress of the Sword and Shadow doesn't truly understand what they have purchased when Nona Grey is brought into their halls as a blood-stained child of 8, falsely accused of murder, guilty of worse. Stolen from the shadow of the noose, Nona is sought by powerful enemies, and for good reason. Despite the security and isolation of the convent, her secret and violent past will find her again. Beneath the dying sun that shines upon a crumbling empire, Nona Grey must come to terms with her demons and learn to become a deadly assassin if she is to survive. So it sounds pretty good. I'm definitely all about rooting for the villains. When it comes to Mark Lawrence, he does a fantastic job with writing villains who you really sympathise for, which is kind of a crazy thing, but he does it really well. I'm looking forward to it, and it comes out in April of next year. The next one on my list is a sequel again, and it is the sequel to Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, which is called The Waking Gods. This one comes out in April as well, and I really am excited for it. I know that the Sleeping Giants book got quite a mixed review, and I found it fascinating, like absolutely fascinating, but also a little bit problematic as a story. It didn't quite work as well as I thought it could. So it's a really interesting read. It's one of those sort of 3-star reads where I'm like, should I continue, should I not? But this series I do really want to continue because it's kind of one that stayed with me, and it's one that I find really fascinating still, and I think the ending of this book was hinting at so much more to come. So I definitely want to find out if it's kind of going to pay off or if it's all just going to fall flat on its face. I love the idea of it. It's about a young girl who finds herself in a big giant iron hand. In the middle of the road, she just falls down a hole and this big old hand catches her, or just happens to be waiting there, and they discover that it's a giant's hand, a giant iron hand that they think has been placed there by some sort of hidden organisation. Maybe it's aliens, no one really knows. And the book is about discovering various different body parts all around the world, made in this same bizarre kind of strange metal that they've never seen before. And it's just really fascinating, and I really liked the ideas in this, even though it wasn't executed quite as well as I hoped. I loved the ideas, so I hope the second book will give a few more answers and hopefully kind of start to be a really solid series. We'll see, but I'm excited for it. The next book on my list is a really anticipated release for me. It's the final one in the Lady Trent series, which starts with A Natural History of Dragons. The book coming out in 2017 is the 5th one and final one in the series. It is called Within the Sanctuary of Wings. It's by Marie Brennan. I adored this series when I read it. I read all 4 books back to back because they were just calling my name. It was such a great series. It's about a young lady called Lady Trent who is narrating her life story. She has been a dragon naturalist for many years. She fought against stereotypes of gender. She's a kick-ass lady who can get out of scrapes and mishaps that do definitely happen when you're kind of dealing with dragons, and I just adored the way that it was written, the way that it deals with feminine lead character who's pretty wonderful to look up to. It's just a great series and really creative and fun, and Marie Brennan is definitely one of my top authors who is writing right now, so I'm so excited for her new book coming out in April. The next book I have comes out in March, and this is one that I'd not heard of until I started looking into 2017 releases, but it sounds so good. It's by Emma Newman, who is the author of Planetfall and After Atlas and various other books like the Split World series. I love Emma Newman from her podcast, and I've read a bit of After Atlas, but not enough. I really need to finish that book. But this one sounds really great. It's called Brothers Bruin, and Great Britain is flourishing thanks to the Royal Society of Esoteric Arts. When a new mage is discovered, the Royal Society elites descend like buzzards to snatch up a new apprentice. Talented mages are bought from their families at a tremendous price, whilst weak mages are snapped up for a pittance. For a lower middle class family, like the Guns, the loss of a son can be disastrous, so when seemingly magical incidents begin cropping up at home, they fear for their Archie's life and their own livelihoods. However, Archie Gunn isn't a talented mage, his sister, Charlotte, is. And to prevent her brother from being imprisoned for false reporting, she combines her powers with his to make him seem a better prospect. However, maintaining the charade will mean masquerading as Archie's assistant, and delaying or destroying her own plans for marriage. When she discovers a nefarious plot by sinister Dr. Ledbetter, Charlotte must use all of her cunning and guile to protect her family, her secret, and her city. It sounds really good. It's quite a short book. It says it's only 160 pages, but I am so there for a kind of 1800s romp around England with badass mages. It sounds great. I cannot wait. The next one on my list, I don't know if it's coming out in the month that it says, but I really hope it is. That is Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. This book is the third one in the Fits and the Fool series on Goodreads and various other places at the moment. It does say it's coming out in May of 2017. I don't know if that's official because I haven't heard any definite plans for that, but maybe it is. I'm going to live in hope and pray and just really plead that that is the date it's coming out, because if it comes out in May of next year, I'm going to be so excited. You guys know Robin Hobb is absolutely my favourite of all-time authors. She is fantastic. I love her series. I love Fits and the Fool particularly. I can't say how much I love them because they are real people to me, not just characters. And if this book is coming out next year, I might cry. Like, actually legitimately might cry because I need it. It's gonna be great. I might just reread all of her books if it comes out next year because I love her so much. So maybe, we'll see. The next book I have is kind of, I don't think a follow-on, but a set in the same world as another book, and that is The Girl with All the Gifts. The book I am talking about is The Boy on the Bridge, and this is written by M.R. Carey. It says it's the prequel to The Girl with All the Gifts, but it can be read completely independently. I don't really know very much more about it, but I know that it's set in the same world as this one, so I'm quite excited to give it a go, and hopefully it'll be good. I don't know. I really enjoyed the book, and I really like the film that recently came out, so I'm hopeful that I'll like the prequel book as well, and I'm definitely going to pick it up and give it a go. The next one I have is a novella which follows on from another novella. The first one is this one, Every Heart a Doorway, which is by Sean Ann Maguire. I loved Every Heart a Doorway. It deals with some really interesting asexual characters who have different sexualities. It definitely deals with a lot in a short amount of pages. It's kind of a crossover between fantasy, magical realism and crime all at once. I wasn't expecting the crime element, but it was quite an interesting addition. Her writing was great and I loved this book. So I'm really hopeful that I'll also like the second one, which is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. It's a continuation, I believe, of this series, and it picks up after the end of this one. I believe that we follow two characters, Jack and Jill, Jacqueline and Gillian, who are sisters who kind of found their way into Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, which is a kind of rehabilitation centre where children who have experienced going into magical worlds like portals, either like Narnia, that sort of thing, have come back from those worlds and been emotionally and mentally scarred by what they've seen there and what they no longer can get to and experience. So it's a really interesting look at kind of mental health, different sexualities, various different types of people. It's really inclusive as a book and a series, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm hopeful that the second one will also be fabulous. Again, the cover is beautiful. Like, I didn't know they'd be able to continue how beautiful these covers are, but they are doing a good job. And this comes out in June. and I can't wait. It's beautiful. Hopefully I love it as much as I love this one. The next one on my list is also a sequel. It seems like I've got a lot of sequels coming out next year, which is exciting. It is the follow-on to this, Age of Myth, and the second one is called Age of Swords. I am very excited about this because you will probably know if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, Michael J. Sullivan is definitely an author I really, really enjoy. This is his new fantasy series that he only just started this year, and I'm super, super excited about continuing on with it because this book introduced a lot of really interesting magic, a lot of really cool ideas. I am very, very excited to sort of see how he continues to play with the characters in this world and build on the layers, because Michael J. Sullivan is one of those very rare authors who likes to write an entire series before he publishes the first book, and that means that he is very, very good at kind of putting in these tiny little clues for things that will happen in book 4 or book 3, but you don't see it until you get to book 4 or 3 and you're like, whoa, mind blown, that's amazing. So I'm really excited for some of those moments, and I'm very hopeful that this continues to be a great little series. I'm sure it will, and this comes out the end of June, so quite excited for that. And the final one on my list is also a second in a series, and that is the second one following on from this, The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. The second one is called An Echo of Things to Come. I have been so excited about this book ever since I first read this one. The second one was hinted to be coming out and rumoured to be coming out, but then it got picked up by Orbit, a mainstream publisher, so they re-released the first book in this beautiful edition, but it meant that the second book still has not come out. So I'm really excited for the second book to come out. If you like Sanderson, if you like Wheel of Time, if you like any of those big epic series, I honestly think you're going to love this one. It's going around and being awesome, and I can't wait to read the second book in the series because there is a lot in this book that is amazingly awesomely cool and hints at so much more to come that I am so, so excited about. So if you like a good epic fantasy and you want to start a new one, this is the one to start, and I'm sure you would then want to dive straight into book 2 when it comes out in June. So very, very excited for that. Those are all of the books that I am eagerly anticipating between January to June. Of course, there are many more that I am excited for at the end of the year, but I haven't mentioned them because this video is already super, super long and I just could go on forever. If there's anything that I have missed that you think I would like or that you're excited about yourself between January to June, let me know, or even just the whole of 2017, let me know. If there's anything here that you're excited about and you're planning to pick up and read, let me know that too. I am so excited for so many of these. I hope that they do all come out on time, but you never know, sometimes publishers change dates for various reasons. So fingers crossed we'll get all of these books in the months and days that they say, but we'll see. And I hope that I've shown you guys something that you didn't know was coming out and you're now super excited as well. I am super excited. I cannot wait. And thank you all for watching. I will see you in my next video very, very soon. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me.